Hey y'all, it's Danielle, your environmental toxin expert and educator, and I am going to talk about EMFs today. A couple reasons. I've gotten 3 questions on them in the last 24 hours, which usually tells me it's time to do a video. And my mentor and one of my teachers, Nicolas Pineault, he is known as the EMF guy. His summit is coming up in about 10 days, and I'm going to give you a link where you can register to see it for free. Get proven solutions to protect your health and your family from dangerous effects of 5G, EMFs, and electropollution. So I will be putting links along with this video so you can go check it out. Again, you can register for free, and you would have to watch it live from there, but of course you can purchase the recordings. I will let you know this is an affiliate link. I will get a small kickback if you decide to purchase anything. It doesn't raise the price of the goods or the service. It just means that you're helping me to buy another cup of coffee. Alrighty. So let's talk about EMFs, because I am also running my 21-day home detox course immersion. It's called a 21-day home detox immersion, because it really is. I'm immersing you in the information and giving you just enough, just a few nuggets. And if you want to take a deeper dive on something like EMFs, then I give you the information to take the deeper dive. I always start my course with grounding. So of course we have a grounding question, and how does that relate to EMFs? And we also had, what would you recommend? Do you recommend grounding mats, grounding sheets? And I've also had recently, what do I do about a smart meter? Nicolas Pineault is known as the EMF guy. He wrote the non-tinfoil guide to EMFs. I think I've had this book for a couple years. I actually bought it on a download and then decided I liked it so much that I needed it for reference material. Last year, I got Dr. Mercola's EMF book, EMF'd up. So about 5G, Audible, before I got my hard copy, and I listened to it straight through. I actually was on an airplane going to a nutrition summit. Good book, good solid information. Science is ever changing. You have to realize that. So what we know today may be totally different tomorrow, depending on what study comes out. And I haven't gone into this in my course yet, in my immersion with my current class of September 2021. But I always like to point out that if you are looking at a scientific study or a citation on someone's blog, and if they don't have citations, run. You also need to look at who's backing the site. So is it an industry-funded site? Information, this study, was it funded by the company or this organization? You've got Google Scholar where you can go check that stuff out. So Google Scholar is going to give you actual scientific, peer-reviewed studies. It also has a great law library, so you can see some of the laws and policies that have been put in effect. So there is a difference between Google and Google Scholar. Just saying. Always look at who was funding the study. Is it peer reviewed? These are just some simple tips, and a lot of the stuff that I see going on around on the internet that I just, honestly, I want to be a witch and comment about. You can take 2 or 3 clicks in less than 2 minutes and find out whether it's true or not. Like, everything that you put on your skin is going to be absorbed in 60 seconds. Well, there's a lot more to that statement. I especially do not like sellers, or, you know, you've got a product and you're putting out these scary headlines to get clickbait type of headlines to get people to enroll in your course or to sell you a product. And I see that a lot in the EMF field, and I'm going to talk about that in just a few minutes. I always recommend earthling. It is the earthing. It's about grounding, putting your feet in the sand, putting your feet in the grass, going swimming in a lake or in the ocean. These are forms of grounding, and this will help you combat your EMF exposure every day. Does it cure you? No. Does it cure your disease? No, I'm never saying that, but there is some great scientific reference material out here. Now, one of my questions from one of my students that's going through the course, she asked grounding sheet or grounding mat. I personally use grounding sheets. So I have one on my bed and I have one on my couch. As far as a grounding mat that I would put my feet on, I actually ground with a pink Himalayan salt brick. It's right under my desk here. It's just in a cooking sheet. I just set my feet on there and that's how I ground sometimes. So you can buy them for the barbecue grill. I don't know how much they are on Amazon, but you know, you can get a pretty big size slab. And when I'm barefooted, I can just pull that up and put my feet down on it. So that's how I ground. Products that you can check out if you want to check out grounding products. You can also test the grounding products that you get in. My husband is actually the expert on that one. He bought all the fancy equipment to make sure that our grounding sheets are working. The other thing I'm going to talk about is shungite, because we're going to talk about EMF protection. This is a book that I got just a couple of months back. Good info. I mean, there is some science in here. They're typically called harmonizing devices. And again, there's some science in here, but I'm going to get to that here in just a second as well. So when people talk to me about EMFs, basically there's 4 points to my my recommendations, if you will. So number one, if you've talked to me or been in one of my classes or you've seen me speak, I always talk avoidance, 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 supplementation, and then we detox. Number one to do in your home environment, and it is why I came up with the 21-day home detox immersion, is reduce your EMF exposure. 2 easy things. Turn your Wi-Fi off at night. Lock up your phones at night. You know, when it's like 7, 8 o'clock at night, you collect everybody's phones and you turn them off or put them in airplane mode. And then you set them away from the bedroom. Again, in my course, we're going through the bedroom, and we're going to talk about sleep hygiene here in a couple days. And one thing that I tell my my students is no cell phone. Electronic clock may not be something you want in your room. We live in a colder climate, so do you have a heating pad on your bed, or do you have, are you using an electric blanket? Reduce your exposure to these items. The other thing I would say is, do you really need a dishwasher or a refrigerator that has Wi-Fi on it? When you're making these big purchase decisions, is this really something that you're going to be using? Do you really need your phone to turn on your dishwasher? Because I'm telling you, for years, we've done it without it. I have a coffee maker with Wi-Fi on it. I didn't buy it because it had Wi-Fi. I bought it because I like the coffee maker. But just making these purchasing decisions. Do I need to bring in another item into my home, into my environment that requires Wi-Fi? My computers that are set up here, they're hardwired. I bought a device to plug into my Apple, to plug into the wall, to the network in my house. I know some people don't have networks, but if you do, they're there for a reason. They're going to help you with that Wi-Fi situation. Number 2 is create distance between you and your device. Preferably 5 feet. I've heard 3 to 6 feet. I'm not a fan of AirPods. Now, I will be the first to admit I have a pair of AirPods. My husband has a pair of AirPods. We didn't know what we didn't know. I have a nice set of bows that I can hardwire into my device, which I use more often than not. It's practical avoidance without overwhelm. We live in a toxic world and we're not going to be able to do it all. And some of the gadgets I like and they don't bother me. Do I use them on a daily basis 24/7? No, I don't. EMF exposure in children has been linked with autism, ADHD, insomnia. Insomnia is a big one for adults too. Depression, anxiety, eating disorders. childhood cancers, impaired growth, poor memory and learning. These are just a few things. So some food for thought. Should you really be giving your kid the iPad for 6 hours a day? If they're chatting with grandma and grandpa on the phone, teach your kids to use the speaker, okay? They don't really need privacy with their grandparents, or hardwire in those headphones. Again, I have a nice set of bows that I can hardwire into my phone. Letting your toddlers play with iPads or tablets. I know I'm going to get hate. I know somebody's going to be hating on this. But download those movies. Download those games. Turn the Wi-Fi off. And you can always hit airplane mode on their iPad or their phone or whatever. Teenagers. Oh, this is a big one. Do you have a teenager that can't sleep? Do you have a teenager that sleeps with their cell phone under their pillow? Are you sleeping with your cell phone under your pillow? This is a huge no. I've found where women are, if you're putting your phone in your bra, they have found breast cancer and perfect rectangles where women have been putting their phone in their bras. I had a client a few years back who told me that her best friend's son was in Iraq and military. And so she slept with her cell phone under her pillow every night just in case there was a phone call. And she ended up getting brain cancer and at some point died from it. Now, can I say that that was a direct link? No, I cannot. Can we say this is a direct link? I haven't seen the study. But why don't we just avoid it and not do it? Because again, this is one of the biggest tips I have is avoidance and not having it on your body. Men have had lower sperm count because of them putting their phones in their pockets without any safety. Most of the cell phone studies of EMF and Wi-Fi has been done on men. I mean, we're talking about men, 160, 250 pounds. We're not talking about children. So remember, they're developing, they're smaller, they're going to get a lot more dose than you are. Really want to stress that you look a little closer how much your children are being exposed to Wi-Fi in your personal space. Again, we can't stop what's going on what's being broadcast out by the 5G towers at this point. We can't stop if they go to Starbucks and there's Wi-Fi going on. I mean, these are just things. The best place to protect yourself is in your home, environment, and teaching your kids now the rules of using these devices. Okay? Because again, there are no scientific study. There is no long-term studies on Wi-Fi or cell phone exposure. The next thing you can do is just reduce so number one was reduce your exposure in your home environment. Number two is increase distance. Number three is reducing outside sources as much as you can. So the 5G, the power lines, you can always measure the EMFs in your home. There is EMF paint out there. There are tents that you can put over your bed. There's a whole host. I mean, if you're in an apartment, I've actually just read it recently, that if you're in a big city, some of the apartments or condos or whatever are going for higher prices. If you can prove that you have a safer apartment than the guy next door, you could get more money for it. Fascinating. The last point is basically shielding yourself. So this is where the gadgets come in. Obviously, I want you to do the remediation first. Sweeping through your house and saying, I don't need my coffee pot Wi-Fi on. I'm going to turn it off. I don't need to buy a refrigerator that talks to, the internet. I'm going to turn it off. So this is where the gadgets come in play. And this is where this is the first thought is. Everybody wants, they don't want to talk about avoidance. They don't want to talk about remediation. They want to talk about what device can I buy to make this go away. And I'm going to say that there is nothing that is 100% protection. There is not a scientific study showing or measuring a safe level of EMFs for humans. So it's a little scary. Even if you look in your Apple terms of service, you can't sue them if you get cancer from their phone. Just saying. To the marketing point of everything, which is what I teach everyone. Don't read the marketing, on your food packaging, on your house cleaner. Don't read the marketing on the front, what this doesn't have or doesn't include or whatever. Flip it over and look at the ingredients. You're going to have to do the exact same thing when it comes to buying like a water filter or air purifier or, an EMF device, prevention device. Okay, if there's no scientific study that shows what a safe level of EMF exposure is for a human, how can such claims be made that it's just giving this false security? Okay, I really hate seeing 100% protection. Again, if there's not a scientific peer-reviewed study, how are we guaranteeing that you are going to be protected with my device? Okay, so you really have to read the fine print. And then there's the harmonizing devices, okay? So again, harmonizing what? Or there's the shungite devices, okay? Shungite devices. Okay, I'm the first to admit, I have bees, and my bees have shungite in their hives, okay? So right at the entrance, I have shungite. I have a shungite pyramid sitting here on my desk. I have shungite slabs that I put my cell phone on at night. I think I have a spear by my bed. I don't know, pyramid spear. I don't know. I put shungite in my water to filter my water. I'm the first to do that. But some of these harmonizing devices, there is some science to it, but I think a lot of it is more placebo. But when I see someone that has like this sticker that you put on the back of your phone and they're like, you're 100% protected. Protected from what? There's no study of safe EMF level for a human. So how can you protect me? These devices give you a false security. All right, so you do have EMF blockers. Don't get me wrong. So you have cages that you can put on your smart meter outside. It's the way that it is marketed to you that it is going to give you a false level of security. Are there devices I would recommend? Yes. There are things that you can protect yourself with. Do I believe in some of these devices? It's very hard for me to say, oh yeah, put a sticker on or wear a necklace. And again, if you read Dr. Mercola's book, even he will say in here, a lot of the advertising and the marketing is just there's not enough science there that it truly can give people a false sense of security, and avoidance is the very first thing that you can do and the very best thing you can do. There's no device out there that is 100% going to protect you from EMF because there is no scientific study that shows a safe level of EMF for a human. That's the bottom line. I will put some links down below. If you want to attend the summit that Nick Pineault is putting out, I will put a link to that down below. There are a lot of manufacturers. I would trust him, and I would trust his recommendations on devices. This is what this man does for a living. His passion and love is EMF. He's vetted all the vendors that he recommends. He gets tons and tons and tons of, stickers and things you can put on, the wall, and yeah. And we're both on the same page. I mean, I love him because we're on the same page. Avoidance is number one. Avoidance in not reading the marketing BS. We live in a toxic world. You're born into this world with toxins. So we need to do what we can. And I hope this helps. All right. Y'all have a great day. Thank you so much for listening.